Breaking now in North Carolina, police find what they say may be the truck of the missing Marine, who is also a murder suspect. That's the top story at the bottom of the hour. Corporal Cesar Laurean is the Marine accused of killing pregnant comrade Maria Lauterbach. And those were the bars and tone from the place where we were seeing the truck. There's the truck. I said van earlier. Relax, people. It's the black truck right there. It's been there since last night. Police say this is most likely it. Found at Microtel Inn and Suites in Morrisville, North Carolina. We'll leave the light on for you. We'll have more on this in just a moment. Also breaking earlier today, the medical examiner in this case said that this woman, the victim, Lance Corporal Maria Lauterbach, died from a powerful blow to her skull. That contradicts what Corporal Cesar Laurean reportedly wrote about the death, claiming Lauterbach slashed her own throat, leaving no explanation for how she ended up there in a fire pit in the backyard, burned to a crisp. Investigators say they uncovered both her body and the body of her unborn baby there. Laurean's next-door neighbor talked to a producer from On the Record with Greta Van Susteren, and here's more of what he had to say.
When did you first learn about what had happened, and did you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together?
I started putting it together when my wife gave me a call and told me there was about 25 cop cars out in front of the house. And my sister-in-law called me up right after that and said I needed to come home because the sheriff's department wanted to talk to me. And then it dawned on me he had borrowed a shovel earlier in the month, and then I heard that girl had been missing since around the 14th, or 8th or the 14th, and around the 16th he borrowed a shovel, and the same day, or the day after he borrowed a shovel, I seen him driving her car.
Well, there you go. Right now, Cesar Laurean is nowhere to be found, but here is that truck, not van, but truck, the black truck in the middle of your screen. Let's bring back today's legal panel, criminal defense attorney Julia Morrow and former prosecutor Courtney Pilchman. Julia Morrow, what would you advise your client were his name Cesar Laurean?
Well, I would advise him that he needs to come turn himself in, quite frankly, Shep. I mean, being on the run like this is only going to make matters worse for him. It's not
How can it get worse?
How can it get worse?
Yeah, how?
Well, first of all, Shep, based on if we believe the nosy neighbor's account of what happened, as far as I'm concerned, that wife, Laurean's wife, has more involvement here than she's led.
Didn't you kind of think that's what the sheriff was trying not to tell us?
I'm sorry, Shep?
Didn't it sound like that's what the sheriff was trying not to tell us a little while ago?
Well,
because he can't.
Kind of, but, you know, you have to look past that and read between the lines. And if that wife was painting in that house with Laurean, she obviously saw blood splatters all over the wall. She knew what she was doing. At best, she's an accessory after the fact. And at worst, Shep, she might have been the real culprit here. Courtney
Pilchman, ever smelled burning human flesh?
Oh, God, no, and I never hope.
Well, no, I hope you don't either. But those of us who have worked in local news and have gone to car wrecks and exploding cars and all that, if there's one smell you will never, ever forget as long as you live, it's the smell of a human body burning. And that body burned in that backyard, and that the idea that nobody knew about it, nobody went, oh, my God, what is that? It's just almost unthinkable, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's horrifying. And, you know, you feel for the victim's family here that they had to endure all this information and to find out that, you know, not only was Maria a victim, there was also an unborn baby that was a victim, and how sad and how horrific to you know, find.
In North Carolina, they cannot charge anyone with the death of an unborn baby. However, I want to ask you this, Julia.
Yes.
The military did not give up any information about this man, the charges or the accusations by this Marine who's now dead against this Marine who's now on the run for 22 days. Did you know that?
I did, Shep, and let me tell you my take on that. Sadly, I think this is a case about the boy who cried wolf. Apparently, according to Lauterbach's mother, and I don't mean to speak ill of the dead, she suffered from bipolar disorder and she was a compulsive liar. So if she's known on the base and among her co-workers and superiors as a compulsive liar, whatever allegations she might have made against this man might have been taken with a grain of salt, Shep. And they might have thought, you know, when she went missing or when her mother reported her missing, that this was just some sort of stunt on her part to get attention with her impending pregnancy and trying to get the attention of her man, who's obviously married and taken with a child of his own.
Everybody's got their key pushed in the booth and I can't hear anything. Release your keys, please. What I wonder here is how in the world they're going to ever prosecute this thing with all the things that have been said. I mean, are you guys concerned, either of you, especially from the prosecution standpoint?
Shep, not at all, because if you think about it,
The sheriff convicted him yesterday.
I heard that, and you're right. And in this country, we are still innocent until proven guilty. But what they have in this case is you have, a dead body, you have allegations of a rape, you have the fact that this body was uncovered in the suspect's own home, and then in California, we have consciousness of guilt, flight after crime. So they could use the fact that he fled as consciousness of guilt that he committed the crime. So from a prosecutor's standpoint, you can take out anything that the neighbor says and anything that the sheriff says, and you can just look at the evidence before them, and you have a pretty solid case to build against this suspect.
Thank you very much.